Hi Gears fans and welcome back to Go Series videos. We know it's been a long time, but now that Gears is back, so we are. We are excited to share our analysis of the reveal trailer for Gears of War E-Day. Once again, we'll be combining a frame-by-frame analysis with a deep dive into the most interesting details. Let's get started! The trailer begins with an overlay message indicating it was shot in-engine. Following in the footsteps of Epic Games' excellent Mad World TV spot, the Coalition developed this trailer in collaboration with CGI experts Blur, using Unreal Engine 5 and incorporating characters, environments and textures directly from the game. We are in a room set up to celebrate the return of the Gears after the Pendulum Wars, with a welcome home sign. The room's decor is typical of old Ephira, seen in previous chapters, featuring classic furniture and the distinctive wallpaper that's been a serious staple since the first game on Xbox 360. We hear thuds coming from the adjacent room until Marcus and the drone burst through the wall. Their brutal entrance shows Marcus Phoenix pinned under the weight of the Locust, who seems to be winning the fight. Marcus drops his Lancer, which is still the retro version from the Pendulum Wars, confirming the historical setting of this new game. A close-up on Sergeant Phoenix lets us appreciate the new polygonal model, especially his eyes. Although the trailer isn't in real time, we know that new chapter uses metahuman technology, which significantly improves expressiveness and polygonal detail. The camera shifts to the enemy. The drone has undergone a complete redesign, as confirmed by developers. They have moved away from the style carried over from Gears of War 3, returning to a more beastly enemy, with features reminiscent of the Crimson Omen skull. The fight continues, and the Locust is clearly overpowering the gear. Marcus, struck down, spots his lost weapon, but the drone prevents any movement, stomping him in a manner reminiscent of classic executions. Marcus' scream confirms what we suspected. Epic Games' technology will give this new chapter a massive technological leap, as hinted at in the Cavern demo released a few years ago. The fight goes on, hinting at a more challenging gameplay experience. According to Nicole Fawcett, the protagonists in this new chapter are not the veterans from the original trilogy. It's their first encounter with the Locust, showcasing a Marcus unable to overpower the enemy. In the following scenes, Marcus is thrown around the room, destroying everything on his path. Trying to defend himself, he reaches for objects on a shelf, including a clearly identifiable statuette of Coltrane in his Trashpool uniform from the Cougars. We get a full view of the Locust in all its ugliness, highlighting the Coalition's incredible progress in recreating this new version of the enemy. When they talk about a living nightmare, we start to believe it. On the table there is another statuette, this time of a cog soldier. Could it be a nod to the Carmines? At this point, Marcus does something simple yet unusual for what we are used to seeing in Gears of War. Instead of grabbing a weapon, like the snap he likely doesn't have on him, he decides to use the TV to defend himself. Taking a moment to look at the broadcast, it's evident that transmissions are offline, and the government is instructing the population to head to shelters, likely built during the previous human conflict. Kelowna is the city where the game is set. Considering the decor, it's safe to say it's probably not too far from Ephira. Marcus smashes the TV over the Locust's face, causing it to finally retreat. Seizing the opportunity, Marcus lunges for his weapon, but the enemy deflects his strike, directing the bullets into the ceiling and revealing the massive holes left by the weapon. Once again, the drone takes the upper hand and hurls Marcus against the ceiling, causing him to lose his iconic bandana. The cog tags fall from his armor, revealing that Marcus is already a sergeant at the time of the game is set. For those who don't know, he was promoted right after the victory at Espo Fields, 2 years before Emergence Day. The fight continues, and Marcus is pushed against the wall once more. A close-up of the drone shows the impact marks from the TV, with blood dripping from its ugly face. Is it possible that the Coalition has introduced a procedural damage system as seen in other series? The camera focuses on the Lancer's blade. As we know, this bayonet was great for human combat, but almost useless against the thick skin of the Locust. Fawcett has already mentioned that the Lancer Mark II will be one of the many origin stories we'll experience as the game unfolds. However, it's important to note that this weapon was introduced a year after Emergence Day, thanks to Taika Liso's improvisation with a classic chainsaw. So there are two possibilities. Either E-Day will follow events from the first day and develop until the Hammer of Dawn is used, or there will be a retcon on this introduction. We obviously hope for the first hypothesis. Marcus repels the enemy, while the blade embeds itself in the wall. For the first time, we see the blade being removed from the Lancer. Will this be a cinematic element to emphasize the scene, or will it have gameplay implications? Might we have to sacrifice the Lancer's blade to kill enemies, forcing us to replace it or switch weapons entirely? Marcus counters the enemy's final attack, firing a burst of bullets into his head, causing it to explode. Just as the color palette returns to the grayer and darker tones, it seems the gore, long requested by fans, is back too. The Locust's splattered skull is a good sign in that direction. Just as Marcus catches his breath, an emergence hole begins swallowing what's left of the building. Marcus falls into the void, forced to cling to a pipe to avoid death. In this scene, we finally see the emergence hole, made even more dramatic by a red light, swallowing cars and streets along with the building. The pipe gives way, and Marcus is saved just in time by a hand, while a familiar melody fills the silence left by the collapse. Of course, who else could save Marcus but his inseparable friend Dom Santiago? The scene reminds us a bit of the Gears of War 2 trailer Last Day, where Dom helps Marcus climb onto the rig. Dom hands Marcus his bandana, as if to say it's not over yet, and they'll soon be back to fighting. Marcus puts on his bandana, while a rearranged version of Mad World tugs at our hearts, reminding us of the love we have for these two characters and the wonderful adventures they've given us in the past. We finally see the two friends side by side, facing the horror unfolding in front of them. They look visibly younger than in the original trilogy, and as Matt Cersei specified, their friendship and support begin at this historical moment. As many of you know, Marcus was Carlos's best friend, Dom's brother, and the bond between the two future Delta members wasn't as deep until Carlos' death. Their friendship will develop during the campaign, making them the veterans we saw 14 years later. Finally, we get a breathtaking view of Kalona, under assault from the Locust Horde on Emergence Day. According to interviews, we'll see not just the death and destruction. We'll also witness the city at its peak of splendor and peace, before the Locust attack. The game won't be open world, so we'll likely explore the city district by district, as in Gears of War and Gears of War 2. The foreground certainly reflects the destroyed beauty of the first Gears of War, and in the background we see skyscraper symbolizing human progress at its peak. Ravens fly across the sky to reach the critical attack zones. In the distance, a lighthouse suggests that Kalona is a coastal city. At Marcus and Dom's feet, locusts, presumably drone armed with hammerburst, start to appear, but they might be something else. Besides the presence of Terran guards, boomers and wretches, we wonder if there will be Cantus and Tickers, which were not present in the original chapter, but were shown close to E-Day in Judgment, as well as Lambent wretches. Speaking of the latter, we also wonder if the Rager will be reintroduced. What is clear is that new enemy races and weapons have been unofficially confirmed. We are very curious. The Corpser, after digging the tunnels to bring the troops to the surface, are now indulging in their favorite pastime, destroying everything. The Gears of War E-Day logo appears on the screen, confirming the game's prequel nature and return to the classic naming convention. However, Gear 6 has not been concealed, but will be resumed later to conclude Kate Diaz's storyline. The coalition has undergone significant leadership changes, and the new management wants to go back to the origins to understand what Gears of War really was and restore its former glory. We hope they succeed. As the new logo appears on the screen, we can hear the main theme from Gears of War 2 and 3. The trailer ends, leaving us hopeful for the return of classic atmospheres and curious about the new direction of the project. There's no release date yet, not even a year, but considering that the first Gears of War was released in November 2006, it's likely that E-Day will come out at the end of 2026 to celebrate the saga's 20th anniversary. That's all for now. Let us know in the comments what you think about the new Gears of War. We were thrilled. I'm Screech93, this is Go Serious Videos. Thanks for watching.